Hello and welcome to 7 Days of Science. 7 Days of Starting off the news this week, a study published in the journal Planetary Science Journal has concluded that it may be possible to detect life on the moon Enceladus without landing on it. Enceladus is the 6th largest moon of Saturn and considered one of the most likely bodies in the solar system to hold life other than Earth. NASA's Cassini spacecraft discovered a large ocean under the surface of Enceladus containing materials that could well support the beginning of life. It has been suggested that other activity on Enceladus could be indicative of it holding life. The idea that an orbiting spacecraft could work out whether or not there is life on Enceladus is based on the idea that biological material could be ejected through vents in Enceladus' surface, along with other material like methane that already is. The team calculated models of Enceladus with different levels of cellular life and if an abundance of cells would or would not be ejected to a suitable distance, finding that, even with a sparse biosphere, instruments on an orbiting spacecraft could detect enough evidence for life. A fascinating study looking forward at perhaps an even more fascinating and exciting future, albeit a fairly distant one. Also in the news this week is a fascinating paper describing a new specimen of prehistoric sea turtle that preserves some very interesting anatomy. It's a partial specimen from the Eocene of Denmark, but the material that's actually preserved is quite exceptional. It likely belongs to the genus Eocolone, a widely distributed Panchelonidae hard-shelled sea turtle that lived at this time, and preserves quite a lot of soft tissue remains, including scutes and a complete flipper outline. Interestingly though, the flipper seems to have been entirely scaleless and actually had wrinkly skin, unlike the condition seen in modern Chelonidae sea turtles, which retain scales across the body, and more like the modern leatherback sea turtle, which has reduced scalation but is not a chelonid. In the fossil specimen, these scaleless limbs were then combined with a bony carapace that still had scutes across it, indicating a more complex evolution of these sea turtles than had previously been appreciated, evolving an interesting mosaic of features as these animals adapted to life in the oceans. A really interesting discovery there then. And finally for this week, there's been an incredibly remarkable paper describing a new kind of prehistoric bird. Named Cratonavis chewi, it comes from the late Cretaceous of China, and the fossil of this animal is absolutely beautiful. Importantly, this group is a member of a group known as the non-ornithorhynchine pygostilians, and actually sits in an intermediate position within the family tree, meaning it's a key species to study in order to understand bird evolution. The combination of bird-like and non-bird dinosaur-like features in this fossil is very intriguing, with a skull that looks like a more basal or primitive dinosaur, while the body is very bird-like. Again, this shows how the evolution of these animals was very mosaic, with different features evolving at different stages. It also looks as though Cratonavis was a raptorial predator, based on the morphology of its foot, and overall, it's a really fascinating and important new find. And that's it for this week's 7 Days of Science. I do hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next Sunday.